everyone, welcome to card 6. So this image is a Sweet November Twisted Sisters image. This one's called Oleander. It's only available in Digi now. It used to be available in rubber, it got retired and then released only as a digital image, but I still have the stamp and that's why I'm using it. So just an FYI on that. So I'd inked it up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink and I stamped her onto Bella's Bestest paper, and I took a circle Spellbinder's die, taped it in place so it wouldn't shift in my die cut machine, and then cut her out as a circle. And then I'm using my Prismacolor pencils and odorless mineral spirits to color her in. There will be a link in my blog post to an odorless mineral spirits kit. I've also bought the Grumbacher odorless mineral spirits from Michael's. I always get asked about that, but they're kind of hard to find, like the good artist grade quality, so I do have a link to that on my blog. So I started with beige, and then I added a bit of burnt ochre, I think that's how you say it, I forgot to look it up. Anyway, added that just to give it a little bit more depth, and then just using a little blending stump. And that's just a little tiny glass jar that I had for years. I just cut a piece of sponge and then poured the mineral spirits in there, and it's just so much more convenient to use it this way. So blended everything out just like so, and that's also why I chose the Bella's Bestest paper. It's got a really smooth finish to it, which is really good for Prismacolor pencil techniques. I don't like it for Copics, but I do like it for using Prismacolor pencils. And again, you don't have to use you don't have to use Prismacolor pencils. You can use like Crayola, anything. Just the better the grade, like the higher the artist grade and the more pigmented they are, the better results. So just another little FYI. So anyway, once I finished her face, I went on to color her little outfit. So I started with just orange and blended that all out. I had left her hair, usually, you know, I do skin and then hair, but I was planning on doing her hair black, so I wanted to leave that to the end. And then after I was done coloring the orange, I wanted to add just a bit more depth to it because, yeah, just to give it a bit more depth and color. So I took Poppy Red, which is the closest, which is more of like an orange red, and added a little bit of that, and then just went right back over that and blended it out a bit. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've done this again, and I really like just how it looks. It kind of almost looks textured in a way compared to Copics. So anyway, I went onto her hair, and I changed my mind last minute. Rather than doing black, I went in with a really, really dark brown and just put in the color and then started blending that all out. And once I've got that blended, I went back in and added a bit more of the pencil just to give it some more color because it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. It's kind of the nice thing with these, you can just keep going back and adding more color. And odorless mineral spirits dry really quickly, and if you're using good quality like smooth paper, it won't pill. So I did that, and then her eyes, I wanted to make them a little bit of a lighter brown just to make them kind of stand out a bit more. So I used sienna brown, quickly blended those for her eyes. And then finally I'm going to do the black, and that's one reason why I really love Prismacolor pencils, is you can use one pencil, just black, put it on very lightly, and you can get a really nice gradient with it with this. You don't have to fiddle with blending and different shades of gray and all that kind of stuff like you have to do with Copics. With this, I just added that, and that's all I'm going to need. So put on that little bit of black and then just start blending it out, and it looks really nice. I love using Prismacolor pencils for anything that I want to do a lot of coloring with black, because it's just super simple to get a really nice gradient with it. So the bodice of her dress, and then for her little stockings, I was going to do them in stripes of different colors, and then I was like, you know what, I'll just do the whole thing, and it just, again, like the spots where I actually added the color are darker and the rest is lighter. It just works out perfectly. So once I'm done with that, I wanted to add a little bit of shading around it, and I still prefer using my Copics for that, even though, again, I don't like using Copics on this cardstock. I just don't like how it blends. But it still works. So I was just using like W1, W3, and then blending it with my W00, and then finally blending that with just my colorless blender. So just gives it a little bit of shading without anything too extreme. So that was it for that. Then the pattern paper I'm using, I got this one from Michael's. It's by My Mind's Eye, called Haunted. It's very hard to find now. I think they've already sold out at like all the Michael's. I do have a link though to a Teresa Collins one. It's the exact same patterns, just a different name. They kind of reconfigured a bunch of stuff for Michael's and all that. So yeah, I've got a link on my blog to another one. And then the ribbon, I'm not sure if it was AmyR's or Michael's. I'm pretty sure I bought this at Michael's a few years ago when they were like clearancing out all their Halloween ribbon. So found that in my stash, so I pulled that out and used it. And then the sentiment is from my Ghostly Greetings set. I stamped it with VersaFine ink onto some Stampin' Up! Pumpkin pie paper. And then this die, sorry, is also no longer available. It was by Spellbinders, and they discontinued these a couple of years ago, and I don't know why. I love them. Love them. They're just one of the little labels dies, and I couldn't find it on their site at all. So, sorry. But My Favorite Things does have one that's similar. So, anyway. I die cut the Halloween, and then the other two parts of it, I decided I wanted to stamp right onto the white circle. So I inked those up with the VersaFine as well. And then just stamp them above and below the Halloween. Just kind of fiddling with the layout. So once I've got that stamped, I want to adhere that to my cards with just my ATG adhesive. I've also been asked by some of the new people where I got mine. I had ordered mine online from a supplier in Canada. You can get ATGs at Michael's now. Use a coupon. Don't pay full price. I know in Canada they're like $50. So use a coupon, get them for 40% off, and then you're good to go. Simon Says Stamp carries the ATG as well, and I'm sure other places do. So anyway, I used my Favorite Things. This is the Leafy Flourish die, and I cut some black cardstock with it. I was going to use like my bat punch, you know, stick to the typical same old, and then I came across this and I was like, oh, that would be perfect for this. I don't know, it just works. So I added little dots of Tombow Mono Multi to the leaves area of it so I could adhere it down onto the card. And then I adhered the little Halloween sentiment kind of over that. And then once I've got that, I die cut a second Leafy Flourish, and this one took a little bit more fiddling. I put the adhesive on, and then I just started to bend it a little bit as I adhered it down. Because I wanted it to kind of go around the circle, but I didn't want it to cover that sentiment there. So I quickly moved things around, and that's how it worked. So, and then just some Prima flowers from my stash, and same with like some large black brads to attach them. So a couple fabric ones, and then I grabbed a couple smaller dark ones and attached the one, and then the other one I just decided last second to attach over the second little flourish there, and it just worked out nice and cute. So got that attached, and then as always Scotch tape over the ribbon and the backs of the brads so that the ATG would just glide over that, just like so, because otherwise it catches on the backs of the brads and the ribbon. And I matted that with a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock. And then I'm going to adhere that to the card front itself. And again, this is a standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 inches by 5.5 inches. So unless I state otherwise, all my cards are this size. I've got that on my YouTube channel page as well, under my frequently asked questions. So got that all adhered. And then for the inside of the card, I used the remaining piece of the orange pattern paper I use on the front, and it's horizontal, so it's like it's totally bothering me how, because the skulls, if you look, are sideways, but most of it's getting covered, so it doesn't bug me as much. So I adhered the paper, and then that piece that I cut with the crows on it, I didn't want it covered up, so I die cut a little slightly smaller circle of white cardstock for a space to write something, and then I adhered that off the edge of it so you could still see the birds. And then I stamped another sentiment from the Ghostly Greetings set, and this time just used a circle punch to punch it out, and then adhered that just below the little white circle. And once that's adhered, I'm just going to flip over the piece and use my scissors to cut off that little bit that's hanging over the edge, and then adhere that to the inside of the card. So, and of course, you guys know me because I get that asked a lot. If I don't actually add glitter, everyone's like, where's the glitter? So I couldn't help myself. I had to add something. So yeah, orange peel stickles, and just lightly dabbed it onto her bow and her dress. So she got a little bit of bling. And I just didn't want to add too much because I still wanted you to see the detail and the shading with the coloring. So that's it for now. As always, like I said, the link to my blog post with links to supplies will be below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!